Hi there, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back. I am Andrea B, and I can't believe it's already Thursday. Time has been moving so fast that I thought today was Wednesday, and it's not, but happy day to you. And I am just going to jump right on in and talk about what I did before getting the ring and how I am preparing myself to become a wife and what I did during that single period to get where I am. So, I have been engaged for what will be a year this Christmas, and March of next year will make 3 years of us being together officially. And when right before we started dating officially, I had been single for about 5 months at that time. And during that whole period, I just remember praying. At the time, I was spiritual, so I wasn't saying God. I was saying Most High, and not speaking to God as the Father, but just speaking to God as, I know you're out there, and I don't know who you are, he or she, but just hear my prayer type of position I was in. And so I would basically just pray and say, Most High, I don't want to force anything. I don't want to rush through this. I want my next relationship to be meaningful. I want it to be genuine. And I don't want to tolerate less than what I deserve. I don't want to accept any type of foolishness. And I was just very clear about not wasting my time or anyone else's time and not faking the funk. Now, I even said in that prayer, or in just that conversation, that if that even means I'm single until I'm 40 or the rest of my life, that's fine, because I do not want to settle for less. Unacceptable. If I don't have genuine feelings for this person, if they're not treating me the way I want to be treated, nope. And I even included a prayer for my future husband because I was confident that I would meet someone. I just did not know when, where, or who it would be. I just knew I was not going to waste any time. And so I said a prayer for him. I said, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, may you cover him, protect him from any deceitful women, and may he heal from those previous relationships and heartbreaks, etc. I went all in, and 5 months later, let's see, just to like to be precise, so December, January, February, March. Also, 4 months actually of being single. But anyway, so when we started dating, it definitely came out of the blue. I was not expecting it. I was open though. I was open to whatever happened. And what I mean by that is I wasn't guarded. I wasn't carrying baggage into the next chapter. I just used the knowledge I gained from previous relationships to use that discernment. And when red flags, if a red flag came up, I would know, because I had been through so much that I know what to look out for, and those red flags will likely stand out. And so, in order for me to remain open, I went in and did not project anything onto my fiance because I knew he deserved a fair chance. He did not and should not have to pay for what other people did to me. So I went in open minded. I was even honest. I said I just got out of a relationship a couple months ago and I'm still healing from that. And at that time, I was okay with being single. I wasn't regretting the end of that relationship. I knew it had to happen, and I was happy it happened because of the person I was with. Just wasn't working out. And I was comfortable enough to reach that point and say, I want to be with someone that wants to be with me as well. And if this person doesn't want to be with me, I don't want to be with you. And I was able to look back at the course of that relationship and really accept the fact that I did not want to be with someone like that. And so that's what I meant by healing, is that I wasn't bitter about what happened. I did not have any hate towards my ex. I was just in a place of accepting singlehood and learning about myself and who I am, where I want to go. And honestly, I think healing is ongoing. It's nonstop because sometimes I think about previous relationships and wrongdoings, and I may be mad for a moment, I may be disappointed, and then I come back to a place where I say, well, it happened for a reason, no hard feelings, and I'm glad I went through it, and I'm grateful to be here now. Because if I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be here. And I have so much knowledge that made me the person I am today, and that I get to share with you all so that you don't have to go through it. Now, when my fiance told me how he felt about me, I was open. I had no idea because apparently he had feelings for me for a very long time and I did not know. He did a great job of hiding it. And maybe, just maybe, I will share the story later of how we met, and not today. We'll see. Uh, we'll see what happens later in this video. But anyway, when he told me, I was open, I heard him, and I felt so much peace. There was nothing in my mind that said, I don't know about this one, you should watch out, something is off about him. I felt peaceful enough to get to know him romantically. And I felt so great about it that sometimes I still look at him and look around and think, wow, this feels so unreal to be here. It's that too good to be true type of experience, but it's very real, and I'm grateful for that because a lot of people pray for a love like this, and so many people do not experience it, especially because they don't think it's possible. And it's very possible. I did not know how possible it was until it actually happened. And hopefully, I still have that feeling because I do believe God will continue to surprise us and show us how beautiful love can be when we constantly choose that agape type of love. So I remember at the time too, I was still dabbling with tarot cards. And so I remember there was a card that represented a hermit. And I received that card in the, I don't even know what it's called, but when I would do the tarot cards, that one would come up randomly after a shuffle a couple of times. And I remember thinking, what if I am supposed to be hidden? I was off of social media for a time, and at that time at least, I was off of social media completely, and I was in a new state by myself. I was not interested in meeting new people, but I was open to whatever happened. And I was really just trying to make the most of where I was with the people that were in my life and strengthening those connections. And so I was between work and video chatting with family and friends, I was pretty pooped. With my social battery was very low, and I I really felt that God wanted me to be hidden at the time, and I can comfortably say God now and give God the credit because that was definitely God. Even though I was using tarot cards and claiming to be spiritual, I truly believe God had his hand on me, over me, throughout my life. So he definitely deserves all the credit for that, for getting me through that. And I do believe that's the preparation that I had to go through to get here. And I did not understand or even know what was coming, but I felt so confident about where I was going that I was okay with living that hermit life and just not putting myself out there too quickly in any way. Because back in the day, I was an oversharer. I said things before thinking. I did things before thinking. And God said no, absolutely not. Let's tone it down a bit. Let's modify you and how you represent yourself. And I think being hidden for a period is great practice because I got to find out who I was. I was living alone and I had all the time to be by myself. And it was actually a great time because I made the most of it. When I say healing, I know that's a word thrown around all the time, but it was true healing where I got to cry and laugh. And I even gave up weed and alcohol for. So, right after that relationship ended, that's when I gave up alcohol. And I think it was like for at least a year or year and a half that I was just completely sober. I started a raw vegan journey. I was really stripping myself of everything I knew to find what works for me and find what I love and enjoy and not depend on substances or people, especially the food, but really lean on God. And I do remember I went on a 24-hour fast and it was just liquids. I don't know if I intended to do water. I just remember liquid fast, but most of that day, I think I did just drink water. And that was a challenge. But I remember crying. I called a cousin of mine and I cried because I said, I know God wants me to do this, and I am afraid of what the next 24 hours will have in store for me. But I did it, and that's the preparation that God took me through to get here, to find myself, to love myself, to depend on Him. And it was definitely worth it. No regrets about that. And one thing, so once my relationship became official with my fiance, I it happened differently than I ever imagined, because I did have questions of what other people will think about the pace of our relationship, because the one before that was 2.5 years maybe. And like I said, I was single for about 4 or 5 months before this relationship. And I just wanted to make sure the timing was right for both of us. I did not want to rush, and I knew people would have opinions. And I just did not care about what people will say, because I trusted myself enough to know that I was doing the right thing. And like I said, it was just a feeling of peace that I had. I was able to smile, and I noticed it. I would look in the mirror and say, wow, I am really happy. And I allow myself to feel that. And if there was an inkling of doubt, I would explore it. And then I would realize it was nothing to hold on to. I could release it and continue to enjoy where this relationship is taking us. And in order to prepare, so before we got engaged, I had to be patient, because part of being hidden is allowing a man to find me. I was very intentional about that, because I did not want to use dating apps again. And I was even thinking, where would I meet this man? Will it be at a poetry event, at the grocery store, on the street? And so, because I knew it could happen anywhere at any time, I prepared myself. I paid attention to my appearance, my tone of voice, my attitude, my posture. And I was also open to getting out of the house and exploring events, doing what I wanted to do, and seeing what connections I made there. And so I I liked the idea of being found by a good man, and being approached by a good man, and just being my cute, loving self, and a man approaching me because he's attracted to me. And so I know it doesn't always work that way. Some women shoot their shot and it works out really well. So I'm not saying don't sit there and expect a man to do all the work, but it's possible. And I even want to share this Bible verse. The man who finds a wife finds a treasure, and he receives favor from the Lord. That's Proverbs 18:22. And as it says very clearly, the man who finds. So I enjoyed that idea. And to be clear, finding a good woman does not mean the man is also approaching the woman. As I said, it can happen differently, but the intent of that verse is just a man finding a woman. And I remember a little backstory too. So I thought I'd be married by 26. I think I shared this in a recent video, or not a recent, a previous video. I I thought 26 was the number I had in my mind. I don't know why. I don't know where that number came from, but since high school, maybe even middle school, but I remember being very clear about getting married at 26. That was my plan, not God's plan. And I just remember saying married by 26, and then kid, I didn't even I always knew I wanted kids, but I did not even place an age on that. I just knew I had to have kids once I finished school. And because I always knew I wanted a family, I was not preparing myself for that life until I turned 26. That's when I really started to have transformed my mind and say, "Oh, this is how I want my life to go. This is what I have to do to get there." But before 26, I just thought it was going to happen. I thought I was good enough. I didn't think I had to change anything. I just knew I had to be in a relationship and the rest will happen. No, I got myself into a lot of trouble, clearly. So don't be delusional like me. If it happens that way for some people, gotta be careful, because we really do have to prepare ourselves for marriage. We're not just good at it, we don't wake up good at it. It comes with good, godly advice, paying attention to other married couples and people that have had successful relationships, looking at what they're doing, paying attention to what they're not doing. I wasn't doing that. So that was something I had to accept, is that when my fiance and I started dating, I was past the age of 26, and I knew that it no longer mattered how old I am when I'm married. I just want a healthy, happy, peaceful relationship. And that meant surrendering, letting go of my plan, trusting God, trusting my fiance, because I had to patiently wait for him to propose. And that was a challenge because I did not know when it would happen. I didn't I tried my best not to count his pockets and say, "Oh, you have money for this, and what about a ring? When is that going to happen?" And just not trying to put a time step on it. I did not give him an ultimatum. I just allowed things to flourish naturally. I knew he wanted marriage. We talked about it. I knew he wanted kids. We talked about that. And we did not talk about our ideal timeline. Looking back, could we have? Sure. Maybe that's a conversation you and your your significant other can explore. And even having a timeline still doesn't mean things will happen that way, but that just lets you know what the person is thinking about, what they're prioritizing. Because I hear a lot of men, especially, say that they want to reach financial security before marriage. And sometimes life doesn't work that way. And a lot of women are usually turned off by that idea because that means they may be waiting longer than they expected. But when the day officially came for us to become engaged, obviously I said yes. And I still had work to do that I did not realize because I had to think more about the we and how can I better myself for us, and what being a wife looks like, being in position to be a good wife. And outside of traditions, cooking, cleaning, sure, those are things I like to do anyway, but it's the attitude, as I said earlier, how I speak to him, the words I use, my tone, and not being confrontational, and being selfless, keeping him in mind when I do things, when I go places. And no, it's not him controlling me, ladies. I know. I hear it all the time. I don't want him to control me, tell me what to do, etc., etc. But I accept his opinion and I value it because I trust him enough to know that he has my best interest at heart. He wants to protect me. He wants to provide for me. He's made that very clear. Excuse me, I'm going to turn my fan on because I am toasty. All right. So, yes, he's made that very clear that he wants to provide and protect me, which is so sweet because that's what I want and that's what I need. So, I do ask him for his opinion. And if he has doubts about something, I listen. If he says, I remember, I'll tell you all one of the clashes we had early on. I like to take walks, and I also liked to leave my phone at home. And he'd want me to take my phone, just better to have it and not need it, was his mentality. And I said, I hear all that, but I love the freedom of going out without my phone because society puts so much pressure on having a phone and taking it everywhere with you and constant notifications, and you gotta be ready to answer and respond to people and yada yada yada. And I just did not want that. I wanted to go out without a phone, have that freedom, not have to carry it with me. I just only wanted to carry what I needed, which was myself. Well, he even said, well, when we have kids, I think I would definitely love for you to have your phone. And I even said, of course, I'll have my phone when I have the babies with me because I want to have a phone as a tool when I'm out with them. And then it clicked, and I said, well, why not do it now? Just because I have my phone with me does not mean I have to answer. I can still have it on silent, do not disturb, but it's just a precaution. And he wanted me to have my phone so that I can access him very quickly so that he can respond and do something about it. That's his priority. And once I looked at his side, I said, you know what? It's really not a big deal to take my phone. It's not the end of the world. I will be okay. And that's one compromise that we could agree on, is that I will take my phone, and he got what he wanted, and I still got what I wanted, which was to go on walks and have that peace of mind. And luckily, nothing has happened where I needed to call for an emergency. And that's just an example of him having my best interest at heart, him wanting to protect me and to know that I am safe. And that was one way of him being able to relax, is saying, well, at least she has her phone. She can call me, she can call someone if she needs anything. But without that phone, his nerves were just running loose because he's thinking, what the heck will she do? And I remember even saying that. I said, well, I don't like to think of what if this emergency happens. I like to operate from it didn't happen and hoping for the best type of mentality. And sometimes in life, we can't approach situations like that. Sometimes we do have to plan and prepare and not be afraid, but also knowing that we have the tools in case something happens. It's like knowing how to fight, or like if someone is going to carry a gun, know how to use it. A lot of people say they don't want to have to use their gun, but at least they have it in case they need to protect themselves. So, allowing him to protect me as my future husband, that's his duty. That's the position God put him in, to protect me and provide for me. And that meant unlearning a lot of things that I thought I knew about relationships, what it takes to be a wife, and opening myself up to new ideas and figuring out what works best for us, because this is our relationship. And that's why I let go of what people may think about us, because they're not in this relationship, and it's my life to live, it's his life to live. So we have to work together to make this work out. And I want to go back to being hidden, because it's so necessary for people to have that period of being hidden, especially women, because I think there are a lot of voices out there telling us what to do, how we should behave, what we should think. And if you are not strong and firm in your beliefs, you can be easily manipulated and deceived. And so I encourage you to have that period. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of social media like I did. And that wasn't even my intention. I had actually gotten rid of social media June or July, maybe August of that year. So before my last relationship even ended, I had deleted social media. So I didn't know all of that was even going to happen. But I see that it was to align me for where I am. And maybe it looks differently for you. You don't have to fast the way I did. And that's not even why I fasted again. It was, I just felt that calling that I need to fast. And being hidden for you could look differently than it did for me. And honestly, there's still periods where I am hidden, because I have to be focused. I have to prioritize and fill my time with what really matters to get to where I'm going. And sometimes that means I'm not investing much time into scrolling. I'm investing more time into fitness and the quality of our home and my intellectual being, all of that is being prioritized. And I especially think it's so necessary for women because what I see often is women can be rigid. Women love being independent, not needing a man. And I use love loosely. I say love because that's what's thrown around often, but I don't think women love it, to be honest. That's another story. But I say that because women hate the idea of submission because they see it as controlling, they see it as losing themselves, and the man telling them what to do and how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, and it requires trust. Do not just submit to any man. That will be foolish. A quality man of God deserves submission, especially if you want him to lead and to be the head of the household, to protect, provide. Allow yourself to submit because men typically are logical, more logical than women. Women are typically more emotional than men. And we need that logical side of men to stand up and rise. And especially in those tough, dark moments, he is supposed to stand up. And if you do not trust the man you're with enough to submit to him, maybe time to pump the brakes and one, figure out if that's the man you're supposed to be with. And if so, figure out how to surrender to God's will and even asking God to open you up to trusting that man more. And it is a practice, honestly. It's a daily practice. And I think it also makes it easier when you are open to love and receiving love and you have a good man in your life, you will likely want to submit to him and lean on him because he's doing things to make you feel safe and comfortable and providing stability, that you should want to do things for him. Because honestly, I see women doing, what do they say? You're giving wife qualities to a boyfriend or just a F-boy. A boy that does not deserve your time, you're giving wife qualities to him. So why not preserve those wife qualities for the man you're actually supposed to be with? And why do you think Destiny's Child made Cater to You? The man was apparently so great that they said, baby, let me rub your feet, cook your dinner, get your do-rag, and all the great things. Let me love on you because you deserve it. You work hard. You go into the crazy world filled with crazy people. You got to deal with all these people, and you're expected to be strong-minded and to control your emotions, especially that anger. And you're doing all of this not just for yourself, but for us, for our family. You deserve to be catered to. And that's where the teamwork comes in. Because yes, I know there are women out there working too and dealing with the world, but men are expected to not just deal with the world, but they're expected to be logical, less emotional. Whereas women have permission to be emotional and are expected to be emotional. So that's where that balance comes in. That's why that balance is necessary. And that's one way to learn from each other. And one of the things that I've noticed as well and in my relationship is that, feelings aside, we have to make room for logic. That logic is logic, truth is truth. We may feel a certain way, and that's fine. Feel how you want to feel, but logic stands. And I don't know if my nose is itching. Feels like there was a hair or something. Anyway, now I say all of that to say that is the work that I've done. That is the work that I continue to do. And it has been beautiful. My goodness. Is it like, I don't know. It's just an itch. I don't know what's on my face. That's the work I continue to do. Because new situations arise and there are new challenges, and the same rules apply. Being loving and kind and gentle and caring, compassionate, all the great things are what makes a woman a great woman, a great wife. And I know I'm not there yet in wifehood. However, I am confident that with the knowledge and tools that I have, I will enter marriage with the right headspace and mentality. And what I will say is, it's not easy. It's not supposed to. God didn't promise that it will be easy. And that's why we need Him as the foundation of marriage. And that's why we need each other. And how we represent ourselves matters so much, because it's not just about us. It never has been. Never will be just about us, because we are a part of a larger system. We all make up the system, but there wouldn't be this big system without each of us individually. So how you represent yourself matters, because then you will be representing your husband, and that says a lot. I forget the saying, but it's something along the lines of, the quality of the woman says a lot about the man she's with. And a lot of people see a happy woman, and if she's in a relationship, they're giving the man the credit and saying, you're doing a great job of loving on her and taking care of her, because toxic, harmful relationships take a toll on people. And as a woman, I only know from my experience, so I can easily say it takes a huge toll on women, because I see it all the time. See it all the time. And I mean, even men too. I'm not trying to say one has it harder than the other, but from my experience, I know that it took a toll. I'm glad I still look youthful. Thank you, Lord. Um, if you disagree, boop, I don't care. But anyway, all jokes aside, I do praise God for that, because it could have been worse for me. I could be worse off after everything I went through. My goodness. That's why I'm so grateful to be here, because I did not succumb to the enemy and what I went through because of all of that deceit. So I think as women, we have to care a lot about ourselves and how we show up, because we're not just embarrassing ourselves, but we're definitely embarrassing our family. And we should want to go into the world with our head on straight, not drawing unnecessary negative attention to ourselves. And that doesn't just include your attitude and your tone of voice. That also includes how you dress and the behaviors. Everything about us is a representation. I'm not going to tell you what to wear. Modesty is real. Modesty does not have to be boring. Modesty can be cute and fun and flirty. Flirt with your man, not with the world. But all of these things matter because we have to consider the messages that we are sending. A lot of women want to ignore those messages because they don't want the consequences. They think that they can do whatever they want and still be viewed as a princess and a queen, and unfortunately, that is delusion. Somebody lied to you if they said you can wear what you want and get what you want. That's not how life works. So we do have to be mindful of what we're doing, what we're saying, and how we dress. And to care enough about that, I can't. I'm slowing down here because some people just naturally have the desire in their heart to be modest, and let it happen naturally. Let God meet you where you are. If you are someone that still likes secular music, or if you like to curse here and there, start there. God will fine tune what needs to be tuned, but He just wants to meet you there. He wants you to accept Him into your life, into your heart, believe Him, have faith in Him, and the more time you spend with God, He will strip away what doesn't belong. And I mention that because when we are new in our walk with God, some people think they have to be perfect. Even preparing for marriage, some people think they have to be perfect and have it all together, and you just won't. You don't have to be perfect. You can improve. You can figure things out along the way, but there are basic tools that we should all have. And without those basic tools, remain single. How you care for yourself matters. How you care for your hygiene, your appearance. Doesn't mean you gotta have designer things and all the luxuries. Even with your $7 shoes, and I hope your feet are comfortable, because I know the cheap shoes aren't always the best. I just got a flashback. Your thrift store, updo, whatever, you can rock that so well that people don't have to know how much you paid for it, but they will look at you and see confidence and beauty based on how you maintain it and the posture you have. Keep your head up high. And like literally, because I remember seeing a post where this man said he was out with his daughter, and a woman walked past with her head up, and his daughter was able to admire that. And representation matters. And I remember I used to always walk with my head down, just looking at the ground, afraid to make eye contact with people, and look up. It changes things. Sometimes I stride and I feel good and I know I have it going on, and it's okay to have those moments. Don't have too big of a head, but it's okay to fill your head with some confidence and know that you have it going on. But don't just lie to yourself. Like, truly fill yourself with evidence that you have it going on. And that's what I mean by how you take care of yourself. And sleep is included. What you spend time on is included. If you spend time on negativity and things that just add unnecessary stress and drama in your life, you are regressing. So that's something to consider. And with those basic tools, you can eventually make the progress that you need to, one, get into a relationship, to then become engaged, to then become married. And it's levels. You don't just jump into one and make it. You have to go through the process. And if you don't know how to be single and sit with that, you are going to have a very hard time getting to the married life. So you have to find, you can open the door. He's so sweet. He doesn't want to disturb me as I record. But forgive me, I lost my place. Yes, be single. Find peace in that. And just to full circle back to where I started in this video is being content. Because I was okay with being single. I was not in a rush. I was not hating life, hating myself. My younger self, yes. I jumped into so many relationships because I did not want to be single. I did not allow myself enough time to mourn the ending of each relationship. And I thought it was a knock on me that I was single. So once that last relationship ended, I was finally confident enough to enjoy singlehood. And like I said, I enjoyed myself so much. I enjoyed the time that I had, and it doesn't go away. I still have alone time, and now I have time with my fiancé, and there's that balance. I did not lose myself. And if you find that you're losing yourself in your relationship, just fill your time with things that you enjoy. Take control of your schedule. And be content in that singlehood. Excuse me, got a little hiccup. If you can do that, you will be prepared for a relationship and marriage, because the last thing you need is to become dependent on your husband. That's why knowing how to be alone is so important, because you will be expected to take care of yourself, you will be expected to take care of other people. Whether that's, what if your husband is not feeling well, kids, other family members, friends, people will need you. So first, focus on the ways that you need yourself so that you can pour out the love that the world needs from you. You have permission to be selfish before you are selfless. I know someone needed to hear that because a lot of women are tired of giving. They have given so much that the thought of giving is just tiresome. I know. That's why you can take control of your time in whatever way works for you. I know a lot of us, we all have different schedules. Some people are working 60 hours a week. Some people have 2 jobs. Some people already have kids in the picture. You can take some time to yourself however it works for you. I can't tell you how to do it. I know there's no rule book, but how it works for you, you can figure that out. Now, that is all that I have for this video. And I hope you all are encouraged by my story and know that the desires of your heart will be fulfilled if it is in God's will for you. Big if, because you may have desires that God is saying, that's not in my plan. And with God in your life, I truly believe you will get to a point where you prefer His plan. You are okay with letting go of some dreams because you know that God's will for your life is so much better than what you've dreamt of and what you've even imagined and what you've tried to plan for yourself. So stay encouraged, and before getting the ring, think about, how are you in singlehood? How are you as a girlfriend? How are you as a fiancée? And how will that influence your position as a wife? All of it matters. There are levels, there are steps, and men are paying attention. They are always paying attention. The scary thing about my relationship now is that my fiance and I have known each other for a very, very, very long time. So when he told me he had a crush on me for years and that he's been admiring me for years, do you know how scared I was? Because I'm thinking, oh, what did he see? What did he notice? Oh my gosh, what are the embarrassing things I could have done? And clearly it wasn't too bad, or maybe it wasn't bad at all because he's here and he gave me a ring and he loves me dearly. But that stuff matters because men are paying attention. If a man is going to find a wife, he's going to be on the lookout for those wife qualities. So this is why all this matters. And ladies, you say you want to be independent, you don't need a man. But if you want a man, this stuff matters. So you will have to let go of some of that independence and that I don't need a man mess. It's all mess. Because if you want a man, you're going to need him. So just accept it. Slap in the face, you're going to need him. So carry yourself with confidence and grace and love, and it will show. That man will be so attracted to you that you will stand out. You will be at the center of his attention, and he will say, wow, I don't care what else is out there. I just want you. So that is all. Be well, stay hydrated, like, subscribe, share, all the good things. And until next time, bye bye.